Okay. Let's see if we can't find the stream. Hopefully it isn't too far away. There's the stream. Audio is working as it should. There's a Twitch ad. That is fantastic. But everything is working as it should be. That's great. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 4 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Circuit Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. It's one of the oldest tracks on the schedule, having hosted its first ever race in 1948, and was part of the first ever Formula One World Championship in 1950. It also hosted the Dutch Grand Prix for many years, 32 in fact, until 1985, a race where the late great Niki Lauda would end up claiming his last victory in a Formula One race car. After 85, the track fell off the calendar, thought never to be seen in Formula One again. That wasn't until a certain Dutch racing driver revived the interest of Formula One in the Netherlands. After a 36-year absence, Zandvoort made its return last year, and it's looking like it's here to stay. The modern layout, which was revised in 2020, measures up at 2.65 miles and consists of 14 turns. Although it's not a lengthy course, it still features areas with a great deal of technical difficulty. None more so than the bank corners of turns 3 and 14 and the high-speed sweepers of turns 6, 7 and 8. The circuit also consists of 2 DRS zones that lead into turn 1's Tarzan corner and into the Mickey Mouse turn 11-12 chicane. Turn 1 is realistically the only overtaking spot on the circuit. As a result, qualifying is going to be incredibly important for achieving victory today. Now, as you can see, we have wet weather conditions for qualifying for the first time this season, and we're going to see the same wet weather conditions for the start of the Grand Prix, but it should clear at some point during the race, so we will see mixed conditions for this event. Now, before we focus on this qualifying session, there is a little bit of news to go through first from the previous race in Jeddah. A couple of incident reports from the stewards, the first of which involving Fortnite Racing, Elite Game Boy and Bruno Diaz at a crash that we actually saw on stream. The outcome was a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points for Fortnite Racing. Not that the time penalty means much, because Fortnite Racing ended up retiring from the Grand Prix. The second incident involved Burzy and Andy Wu. The outcome of that was a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point to Burzy. As a result, he would be demoted from P7 to P8 in the final results. Other penalties was a 2 penalty points to Verstappen for the wrong telemetry settings, and Aboud, who was for some reason demoted down the order due to a timing glitch, was reinstated as a second place finisher. In the Drivers' Championship, Barmer 22 was leading the way on 69 points, followed by Airborne Tiger on 34. 35 points separating the top 2 in the championship, and it's an Alfa Romeo 1-2 as well, so it's looking really, really strong for the Alfa Romeo outfit. Third is Artemello in the Haas on 25 points, followed by Verstappen and Vermeulen, both on 23. Bruno Diaz is next on 22, followed by Cos Saint on 12. He's equal 8th with Mitch Burns in the Ferrari, also on 12 points, followed by Fortnite Racing and Andy Wu rounding out the top 10. In the Constructors, Alfa Romeo are leading on 103 points. That's quite a lot of points after 3 rounds. And what's even more disturbing is the team in second place is AlphaTauri on 35. It is quite a gap between the top 2 teams after 3 rounds. Alfa Romeo have really got a stranglehold over the Constructors right now. Haas are third, equal third with Red Bull on 27 points, followed by Mercedes on 22, then McLaren on 16, Alpine on 13, followed by Ferrari on 12, Aston Martin is next on 6, then Williams complete the table on 1 singular point. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. We can now focus on what will hopefully be an entertaining qualifying session, especially in these conditions. I imagine it's going to be quite a lot of fun. I was just listening to the audio there, the game audio. It does sound a little quiet. That could be just me, but hopefully it's not too bad for the race. Now, current fastest time is Barmer 22, our championship leader, a 1 minute 19.562. He's currently got 600ths in hand to the next place car, which is Cameron in the Alpine, who was set at 1 minute 19.621. He is one of three drivers in the 19s, the third of which is Bruno Diaz in the Mercedes-Benz after he set a 1 minute 19.979 as Verstappen has a hell of a moment coming out of turn 12. Gently applying the throttle out of turn 13, again losing the back end. He keeps his car under control out of the long sweeper and heads down the main straightaway to complete his first flying lap. It is P8 for the AlphaTauri driver with a 21.039. Still got a couple of drivers setting their first flying laps. Peyton is one of them in the Ferrari, and Andy Wu in the McLaren, who is making his way around the final corner, heading back onto the main straightaway, almost putting it into the wall. Andy Wu crosses the line to set a 33.6, not at all competitive time. He might be actually trying to set a second flying lap here as he makes his way through turn 1. One of the Haas's, I believe, has just completed a flying lap. It might have been Artemello, if I'm not mistaken, completing a flying lap. Going fourth quickest with a 20.2. Barmer's just improved to a 19.3. So drivers going out on track trying to set multiple laps back to back, trying to get used to conditions, and that's Barmer spinning out at turn 1 and putting it just a little bit into the gravel, but fortunately no major damage or any damage from what I can see on the Alfa Romeo, and he's still in qualifying. We've got heaps of time left in this session as well, over 10 minutes in fact. Bruno Diaz is up by 1/10 of a second to the first sector. In the middle sector, he's found even more time, almost 3/10 to the middle sector. Coming out of turn 12, heading up towards turn 13, climbing up through the gears up to 6th gear, then bringing it down to 4th gear, then short shifting, desperately trying to find traction coming out to turn 13. Around turn 14, really tricky corner in these conditions. The car really is on the edge of grip, as he actually lost time to the final sector, only improving by 0.5, staying third quickest in this session. Artemello recharging his batteries. He might be getting ready to set a flying lap. You can see he's also riding the brake as he heads down that little straightaway. He's just trying to dump as much fuel as he can, getting ready for this flying lap. Tell you what, we're right on board with him, give you a proper tour of this racetrack. Heading down the main straightaway towards turn 1, we saw a glitched car come out of pit lane there. Into turn 1, Tarzan corner, bringing it down from 7th gear all the way down to 2nd, short shifting up to 4th gear, trying to find traction on the exit. Into turn 2, the right-hander, and the banked sweeper of turn 3, down to 2nd, gently applying the throttle. You do have to be oh so careful coming out of that sweeper, so easy to lose control of the car, even in dry conditions. Around turn 6, completing the first sector, then into the tricky turn 7. Similarly to turn 14, you're right on the edge of grip here. You don't want to get on the throttle too early. Similar story here at turn 8. Now into the hairpin of turn 9. Third gear, gently applying the throttle once again. Desperately trying to find traction as he heads around turn 10. An important corner. You need to get this right so you can maximize the straight line speed heading towards turn 11. Speaking of which, he gets on the brakes at the 100-meter board. He's currently up by 0.4 of a second to the middle sector. Heading around turn 12 now. Again, you have to be so careful on the throttle. Exiting in 4th gear, up to 5th gear, up to 6th. Now around turn 13. Short shifting, not trying to use any of the cover on the outside. You can see him feathering the throttle, trying to find traction out of the final corner. He'll head down the main straightaway, cross the line, and improve by 0.5 second. Third quickest with a 1 minute 19.668. Cameron on a flying lap, if I'm not mistaken, crossing the first sector split line. He is up by 17 thousandths of a second in the first sector. Out of turn 7, heading towards turn 8, blipping the brake, getting back on the throttle in 5th gear, now heading towards turn 9. Down to 3rd gear, short shifting to 4th, the back end stepping out just a little bit, but he maintains control of his Alpine. Out of turn 10, again modulating that throttle nicely. You can see the sparks flying from underneath the car. He's got quite a low ride height towards the rear. and he's up by 0.4 of a second to the middle sector. With that sort of improvement, he's challenging for pole position, who is still being occupied by Barmer 22, who is currently in the pit lane. Out of turn 13, around the final sweeper of turn 14, hovering the car at about 95% throttle. The back end stepping out a little bit, but he maintains control, and it's an 18.9 from Cameron. He jumps up to pole position. Barmer 22 making his way around turn 3, getting ready to set another set of flying laps. Bruno Diaz, think he might be on an in-lap, low on fuel, low on battery. He'll be coming in. Artemello's coming in. Airborne Tiger doesn't appear to be pushing. I think he's just set a flying lap. Currently P5 with a 20.1. Verstappen might be on a preparation lap. Hard to say, really. He could be on an in-lap. He'll get himself ready for the final part, the business end of qualifying. Kiwi Fruit appears here. He is going to have a go here at another flying lap. He's currently 10th quickest with a 20.4 as he heads around turn 1. See, they're avoiding that inside curb as Lopez has crashed out. That is at the exit of turn 3. We'll stay here with Kiwi Fruit. He'll be arriving on the scene very, very shortly. Comes around turn 3. You can see the Haas stationary here at turn 4. And there he is. He's put it into the inside wall. It's quite peculiar to see. Typically, you see them crash into the left-hand side wall. He's actually put it into the right-hand side wall. Very, very peculiar. But, oh, as Kiwi Fruit rides the curb at the entry to turn 8, and he gets spat into the gravel trap. Fortunately, he doesn't get spat into the outside wall. He's still in qualifying, no damage to the Aston Martin whatsoever, but his flying lap is ruined. So he'll more than likely come back into the pits and put on another set of intermediate tyres, I would think. Electric Blade, it appears that he's on a preparation lap, getting ready to set his proper flying lap, with just over 6 minutes left in this qualifying session. Down into turn 1, bring it down to 3rd gear, getting as close as you can to that inside curb without touching it. That's the key thing. A lot of the curbs here, as Kiwi Fruit demonstrated but a few moments ago, the curbs around this racetrack are nasty. They are incredibly nasty. Around turn 5, now up towards turn 6. First sector says for Electric Blade, he is up by 0.2. A healthy improvement to the first sector. Cameron on a flying lap. He's up by 1/10 to the middle sector. Barmer's heading towards the end of a flying lap. The clock says for him, it's good. It's pole position for now with an 18.8. But Cameron was up by 1/10 to the middle sector. Has he found any more time? No, he hasn't. And he flies it into the pit lane at 1 billion miles an hour as he goes back into his garage to reset his car. Artemello getting ready on an outlap. Saint on a flying lap, it appears, around turn 2. Heading towards turn 3, down to 2nd gear. You can see the sparks flying from underneath the AlphaTauri. A lot of these guys running low ride height, so their floor is basically scraping up against the surface the whole way round. First sector says for Saint, he's up by 8 thousandths. It's not much of an improvement, but it's an improvement nonetheless. Around turn 8, getting as close as you can to that inside curve without touching it. And around turn 9, down to 2nd gear. I think he might be the first driver I've seen that uses 2nd gear there at turn 9. Around turn 10, short shifting to 4th gear. Getting the power down nice and easy. You can see the driver avoiding the outside curb. In these conditions, you really do want to avoid the curbs, as Saint is up by just over 0.4 of a second to the middle sector. With that sort of improvement, he will get into the 19s, potentially jump up into the top 5, but he needs to get this final sector spot on. Around the final sweeper, 6th gear, steadily climbing up through the speedometer as Saint improves by just under 4.5 tenths. He does indeed go into the 19s to set a 19.8, goes 5th quickest with that, just behind Artemello, who is on a flying lap, making his way out of turn 12 in 4th gear. See, they're modulating a throttle, and then eventually hitting full throttle about 30-40 meters after the corner exit. Around turn 14, see him feathering the throttle. desperately trying to find traction as he gets right up towards the wall on the exit. Crossing the line, stays fourth quickest, but improves by a tenth and a half to set a 19.5. Barmer up by just under half a tenth to the first sector, heading up towards the middle sector split. The clock says for Barmer, he's up. He's up by quite a bit as well, by just under 3/10 of a second. He's found plenty of time through the middle sector. 2 corners remain for our current championship leader. Down to fourth gear, short shifting to fifth, using plenty of the road on the exit without touching the curb. Getting out to the final corner pretty well there. Now it's just a straight dash to the line. It's an improvement of... he actually lost time in that final sector. He improves by only a tenth to set a 1 minute 18.784. He's got about a tenth and a half in hand to this man, Cameron, in the Alpine. And he's up by 61 thousandths to the first sector. Out of turn 7, heading towards turn 8. Chucks it into the right-hander. See, they're not getting to full throttle at all between turn 8 and turn 9. Up towards turn 10, bringing it down to third gear, then short-shifting it up to fourth. Slow Aston Martin on the racetrack as well at the entry to turn 7. Hopefully nothing dramatic comes from that as Cameron's up by a tenth and a half to the middle sector. Can he complete this lap with flying colours? Oh, very sideways there at the exit of turn 12, but he keeps control of the car. That's the key thing. Out of turn 13, the final corner remains turn 14. Oh, right up towards the wall on the exit. My goodness, he almost put himself into it. He crosses the line, and he lost so much time in the final sector that he was actually down by 3/10 to his personal best. Does not improve, but he's not giving up. He's on another flying lap, heading around turn 2. Bruno Diaz trying to get out of the way of cars on flying laps. Artemello, it appears that he's on a preparation lap. Barmer, it looks like he's getting ready for one more attack in this qualifying session. Our current pole sitter with an 18.7, and Cameron, it appears that he might be now on a preparation lap himself. Hard to tell how much time they have left in qualifying because the time is blocked. Okay, we have a minute. So Cameron should have enough time to do one more flying lap. Speaking of which, Barmer on his last, coming out to turn 1, heading towards turn 2. Bring it down to 5th gear, then down to 3rd gear, I presume, for turn 3 as he loses the back end at the exit of turn 2. Managed to gather it up nicely, but how much time did he lose with that little mistake? Let's find out. Coming around turn 6, the first sector split says he's actually up by 0.03 of a second. So he actually found time in the first sector. Bruno Diaz, are you on a flying lap, buddy? No, you're definitely not on a flying lap, riding the brake down a straightaway. He's trying to dump fuel, trying to make the car as light as possible for his final flying lap in the dying seconds of this qualifying session. He's got 20 seconds to actually try and cross the line. Will that be enough time? Yeah, it will be enough time. It will be. Barmer's down to the middle sector by 82 thousandths. Can he get this final sector spot on, though? If he can, I reckon he can find at least a tenth or so. Around turn 13, 5th gear, modulating the throttle nicely. No hint of a massive amount of oversteer as Peyton finishes the section in P5 for Ferrari. Heading up towards the line, Barmer 22 does improve by a tenth and a half to set a 1 minute 18.631. Cameron heading up towards turn 9, bringing it down to 3rd gear, short shifting to 4th on the exit, trying to find traction as Airborne Tiger comes up to P5 with a 19.6. Kiwi Fruit P7 with a 19.7. Heading up towards the middle sector split for Cameron. The clock says he's up by a tenth and a half. He needs to find 3/10 though. A little over 3/10 in this final flying lap. And he does have an Aston Martin in the way. And I think that would be Arba who does get out of the way of him. Bruno Diaz to the middle sector. Clock doesn't say anything, but he's also coming towards the end of a flying lap. Williams lost control, and Cameron has to come in. He made a mistake through that final sector, perhaps distracted from the Williams on the inside of the final corner. He's abandoned his final flying lap. Oh, Bruno almost goes up into the wall. He crosses the line, and he stays 3rd quickest. He improves by a tenth to set a 19 flat, but he can't improve position. There we go. The end of qualifying. And it's Barmer 22 who starts from pole with a 1 minute 18.631. He's beaten Cameron by just over 0.3 of a second. So, I'd say an interesting qualifying, and I imagine a very tough qualifying session here at Zandvoort. This track is incredibly tricky in the dry, let alone in the wet. So it's quite impressive that pretty much everybody got through unscathed. So, the results from qualifying. Barmer 22 will start from pole, and he'll have Cameron alongside him on the front row. Bruno Diaz will start from P3, followed by Verstappen, then Artemello completing the top 5. Airborne Tiger is next, followed by P-Dog Payton, then Kiwi Fruit. Saint will start from P9, and Burzy will round out the top 10. Andy Wu is next from P11, then Arbar in P12. Kitten Petter in 13th, then Vermouth. Electric Blade starts from P15, Lopez from P16, and Shelley the Turtle will start from the back of the grid in 17th place. You reckon, Petter? Well, the start of the race might suck because, yeah, you will have to put up with the intermediate conditions at the start. But if you get through that, then you got dry conditions to look forward to, which is a lot more manageable here at Zandvoort. So, the most important period to get through is the opening few laps where it should be raining. Just got to keep that dry weather conditions in mind. So, right. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. And I've got to remember as well, there's no formation lap for this. I've forgotten for the past 3 races. I've always prepared for a formation lap start. There is no formation lap. It's lights out and away we go. So I've got to remember. But this will be the drivers' final opportunity to fine-tune their cars. Perhaps lower their front wing just a little bit so they have a better time trying to pass in these conditions. Around 90% of the racetrack you will not be able to pass at all. The only areas where you can realistically pass is into turn 1 and into turn 11. Though I have seen some audacious moves at turn 3 and turn 8 in these sort of conditions. So it's not completely impossible, it's just incredibly high risk. But the easiest place to pass is turn 1. So you need that straight line speed heading out of the final sweeper and down the main straightaway in order to make those overtakes work. Another key thing to worry about in this race is battery. It is really, really difficult to recover battery here at Zandvoort, so you do need to be careful on how you spend it. Now, being it looks like intermediate conditions. I don't think anyone will be starting on the wet weather tyre. I think everyone will be on the inters. So Oh, okay. So is there actually a formation lap this time around? Yeah. I'll prepare myself either way. Let's see what happens. Drivers lining up. Oh, thank goodness. We actually have a formation lap now. That's great. Don't have to worry about its lights out and away we go. Well, that's good. Well, the drivers take off on their formation lap. The first of the season after 3 rounds. We finally got one. This will give drivers ample opportunity to get temperature into their tyres. You do need to be careful, though, on a formation lap, especially when you line up onto the grid. If you don't line up correctly, I still believe there's a chance for your tyre temperatures to reset. So you do need to be careful with that. You don't want to get disqualified at all on a formation lap. Yeah, in terms of detail, everyone's on the intermediate tyres, I thought they would be. No need to bring that up. No real need to bring up anything else, to be quite honest. Unfortunately, with a track of this length, formation laps aren't particularly long, unlike tracks like Singapore or Spa or Baku, where it takes an eternity. So we'll do a quick rundown of the order. Oh, and that's Verstappen spinning out. Ooh. Oh dear. Even on a formation lap, it's still possible to lose control of the car. And that goes for safety car periods as well. Be careful during the safety car if it does come out in this race. Be very careful. We'll do a quick rundown of the order. So Barmer will start from pole position. Cameron will start from P2, followed by Bruno Diaz, then Verstappen, who is trying to get up to his P4 placing in the formation lap. Then Artemello in P5, followed by Airborne Tiger, then P-Dog Payton, Kiwi Fruit, Saint, and Burzy rounds out the top 10. Andy Wu will start P11, followed by Arba, Kitten Petter, Vermoo, Electric Blade, who's touring the grass on the inside of the final corner. Lopez and Shelley the Turtle will start from the back. Right. This is the best camera angle for the start. Because, oh, and that's Electric Blade, again touring the grass, this time on the outside of the main straight. As Kitten Petter disqualifies himself, so does Lopez, so they might have their tyre temperatures reset. Rightio. All 17 cars are lined up, ready to race. We've got 10 red lights. Oh, and that's a jump start for Kiwi Fruit. It's lights out, and away we go for the Dutch Grand Prix as Kiwi Fruit takes the lead, heading down to turn 1. That's a Pastor Maldonado start if ever I saw one. Coming around Tarzan Corner. Everyone's trying to get through relatively unscathed. Heading up towards turn 2. It's Kiwi Fruit who leads, followed by Barmer, then Verstappen. A nice start from him, up a few places. Then Cameron. Bruno Diaz is 5th. A battle on between Andy Wu and Airborne Tiger. What a start from Andy Wu. He's made up a few places. Oh, and into the wall goes Airborne Tiger. Coming out of turn 5. Or rather, into turn 5. He's put it into the wall, and he's damaged his front wing. He will have to pit and get that thing fixed. Oh, and Barmer spun. Barmer has lost control at turn 8, but managed to gather it back up. He's now down in 7th position behind P-Dog Payton. Oh, dear. So our championship leader finding trouble on the opening lap here at Zandvoort. Everyone else getting away relatively unscathed. The Kiwi Fruit. Dearie me, mate. That was a jump start and a half right there. He made up the most places out of everybody on this opening lap. Unfortunately, he's going to lose all of it and then some. Come on. Oh, he's not going down pit road just yet. He does have a drive-through he has to serve. He doesn't have to serve it on the opening lap. He can wait. But technically our race leader is Verstappen. In P2, followed by Cameron, then Bruno Diaz, then Artemello. Payton and Barmer. Barmer trying to apply pressure to the Ferrari driver, trying to find a way by. Airborne Tiger is in the pit lane as well, getting his front wing repaired. Heading around turn 4 into turn 5, where we saw Tiger lose control of his Alfa Romeo. As Cameron, he's right on the back of Verstappen, heading towards turn 8. Can't find a way by here in the right-hander. Heading up towards turn 9. And again, similar story. Cameron not going for any... Oh, running wide though is Verstappen. Verstappen opens the door for Cameron, and Cameron humbly accepts P2 on track. And he'll pull away to create about a half-second margin between himself and Verstappen. Bruno Diaz is next in P4, followed by Artemello. Here's the battle for P6 on track between Payton and Barmer. Barmer unable to find a way by just yet. Maybe he'll try and create a move into turn 1. Now, Kiwi Fruit, I do believe he'll be coming down pit road now. No, he stays out for another lap. And sets a new fastest lap while he's at it. He does have a drive-through, doesn't he? Yeah, he has a drive-through. Okay. Well, he's going to try and stretch this out for as long as possible as Vermoo comes down pit road. Up go the Jackson, on goes a new set of inters and a new front wing. Passes going on between Burzy and Saint. Burzy up to P10. Barmer looking around the outside of turn 3. Gets the traction down. It gets by Payton into P6. A nice move there. Still got a lot of positions to recover though. His next target will be Artemello in the Haas. I don't know, that's peculiar from Kiwi Fruit that he's stretching this drive-through out as long as he possibly can. Gonna put him behind his teammate, potentially in front of Vermoo as Shelley the Turtle gets by Saint. Saint was actually off the racetrack there and is still off the racetrack and rejoins in 14th, a long way behind his next rival, and with dirty tyres as well. Kiwi Fruit coming around turn 13. He'll have to pit in now. If he doesn't, he will get disqualified. Coming out of the bank sweeper, he'll move to the right, and in he goes. Serve his drive-through penalty. Make sure he doesn't speed at all. And I do believe he'll drop behind his teammate. Barmer sets a new fastest lap as he's closing in on Artemello. So the battle's on for what is now 4th on track. Peyton's lost a bit of time. The two McLarens have recovered well from the start. They made up 4 and 5 places respectively. The man who's made the most, though, is Shelley the Turtle in the Williams, up 7 positions after qualifying in last place. They're inside the top 10. Sort of demonstrating the importance of keeping out of trouble during the opening laps of a Grand Prix. Kiwi Fruit actually comes out in 13th place in front of his teammate. That's not as bad as what you would initially think. Oh, as Barmer gets right up close and personal with Artemello. Yeah, you wouldn't think you would come out 13th after a drive-through penalty. But then again, Zandvoort is actually the shortest pit lane on the calendar in terms of distance. Oh, contact spinning! Oh, half spinning, rather. Between the two cars, Artemello did not want to give up the inside line at turn 12. Barmer didn't quite give enough room, and the two made contact, costing each other precious seconds. As Cameron sets a new fastest lap out in front. 1 minute 21.3. Here comes Barmer to the inside, heading towards Tarzan corner. Sends it in deep. Artemello tries to go down the inside once again, but he's compromised. Here comes Peyton, drawing alongside at turn 2, looking around the long way, and he's through into P5. A nice move from Peyton there at turn 2. The opportunity arose, and he took it with both hands. Up to P5, Artemello, down to P6. Now Verstappen still keeping this battle at the front of the field alive. 1 second between the top two cars. Bruno Diaz also a second behind in P3. Then it's Barmer 22. 3.3 seconds behind. Make that 3.5 seconds now. Barmer has got a lot of work to do to catch up to the top 3. As Verstappen has a small moment coming out to turn 10. Costing him a few extra precious tenths to the race leader. Around turn 12. Bruno Diaz, 9 tenths behind, just hovering behind Verstappen, closing in bit by bit. Here's Barmer, Peyton right behind, followed by Artemello, then the two McLarens of Andy Wu and Kitten Petter. Around the final bank sweeper, back onto the main straightaway. Cameron sets a new fastest lap, a 1 minute 20. Oh, sorry, Bruno Diaz sets a new fastest lap, 1 minute 20.912. So Bruno's got the pace out of the top 3. Unfortunately, he's the worst place in terms of track position. And I do believe it's just stopped raining. Yep, it has stopped raining. You can see no more raindrops on the halo. You can already see a dry line forming on the racetrack too. I wonder if anyone will take a gamble early to get off the intermediate tyre. Now, in single player mode, even in these dry conditions, you can actually take the intermediate tyre quite a distance. In this sort of slushy period between dry and wet. So it'll be interesting to see how long the drivers actually take these intermediate tyres for. See Bruno closing in by a few tenths. He's now 6 tenths behind Verstappen as they head around turn 12. Then up towards turn 13, half a second now separates them. Around turn 13, up towards 14. Bruno closing in bit by bit. I don't believe DRS has been enabled just yet. No, it hasn't. Cameron sets a new fastest lap. 1 minute 20.138. He's now showing what he's got in his Alpine. Starting to pull away from these two who are looking like they're getting ready to battle it out for P2 and 3 on track. Barmer's actually lost time to the leaders. He's now 4 seconds behind. Last time I checked, it was about 3.5. It's not a massive pace swing, but Barmer is not closing in at all. He is losing time. Peyton's dropped a little bit back from Barmer, The gap's now 1 second between the two cars as Peyton. Oh, that was lag. That was lag. That was a lot of lag, dearie me. That looked quite nasty. Battle on here. Electric Blade, Lopez and Kiwi Fruit. 3 car fight for P11, 12 and 13. It's a bit of a gap back to the final 3 cars. Vermoo, Airborne Tiger and Saint. These 3 got into trouble early on. They're a long way behind and realistically need a safety car at some point to bring them back into the race. Cameron looking really comfortable out in front. 2.3 seconds is the gap between him and second place driver Verstappen as they head around the final corner and back onto the main straightaway. No takers down pit lane just yet. Cameron sets a new fastest lap, 1 minute 19.7. The 2 behind can't respond to that kind of pace. What about Barmer? He can't beat Cameron's pace. Neither can Peyton or Artemello. So at the moment, Cameron's got the measure over the whole field in terms of car speed. Kiwi Fruit has overtaken Lopez down the main straightaway, judging off the minimap. So Kiwi Fruit's now up to P12. He's on a recovery himself after jumping the start massively. Overtook just about everybody on the race start. Sort of a Pasta Maldonado start, if ever I saw one. But he's on the recovery, and he's just outside of the top 10. So Kiwi Fruit's got pace in that Aston Martin. Artemello applying pressure to Peyton here. Oh, no, no, no. Well, all the pressure has just dissipated to nothing with that mistake. Running wide at turn 8. He's now outside of that 1 second range to Peyton, who was still jumping all over the racetrack. Kiwi Fruit overtaking Electric Blade around the outside of all places at turn 10. He's into P11, and here comes Lopez, drawing alongside the Alpine into turn 11. He actually backs out of it. A wise decision, I would think. Still in the very early stages of this race. We've still got a long, long way to go. Into the pits goes Barmer 22. A gamble to get off the intermediate tyre and onto what exactly? Are they hard tyres being deployed? Yes, they are hard tyres. And a front wing change as well. Maybe he didn't want to come into the pits so early. But it appears he got damage. He's come in, got it fixed, and he's now on a hard set of slick tyres. You can still see there's a fair bit of moisture on the racetrack. He comes out of pit lane. Back in a little bit squirrely. And he does have to be extraordinarily careful with tyre temperature. They're going to be stone cold hard tyres. Which means they have absolutely no grip. So you have to be very, very, very careful. Lopez applying pressure to Blade, so the battle's still on for 11th on track. The battle's on for 8th place on track as well, with Shelley drawing alongside Bursey, heading down the straightaway towards turn 11. Bursey will have the inside line for the right-hander, but he decides to back out and lock up, go a bit straight on there at turn 11, costing him a few tenths. Kiwi Fruit now closes in, and the battle's on now between Kiwi Fruit and Electric Blade for P10 on track. Into the pits goes the top 3. They're pitting onto a set of medium compound tyres, whereas Verstappen, he's pitting onto a hard set of tyres like That's very interesting. Bursey, rather, pitting in as well. Same with Lopez. Be interesting to see what they move on to. Cameron. Close between Cameron and Kiwi Fruit at pit exit. Fortunately, nothing major came from it, but here comes Kiwi Fruit on the attack around turn 4. Down the inside of turn 5, he gets in front of Cameron. Cameron now stuck behind Kiwi Fruit, who is still on the intermediate tyre. Cameron needing to get his tyres up to temperature. They won't have any grip. They won't take as long to heat up compared to the hard compound tyre that both Verstappen and Barmer have. Now, his teammate Electric Blade still on the back of him. Kiwi Fruit's actually pulling away. Have the leaders pitted too early to get onto the dry tyre? As Bruno overtakes Verstappen, who is still getting those hard tyres up to temperature. Artemello is closing in on Peyton as the two go into pit lane. Andy Wu stays out for another lap as Kitten Petter, his teammate, goes in. Now let's see what Artemello moves on to. It will be a set of hard compound tyres for the Haas driver. A hard set of tyres for Peyton as well. So few drivers moving on to the hard tyre. Few drivers moving on to the mediums. In fact, a lot of drivers moving on to the hard tyre as DRS is now enabled. That's the traditional sign to move off the intermediate tyre and onto a set of slicks. And that's another obvious sign as Bummer 22 sets a new fastest lap out there. As he overtakes Shelly the Turtle for P9 on track. Kiwi Fruit has got his hands full with Lopez looking around the outside at turn 3. That turns to the inside at the exit and he gets on through. Yellow flags were out as well as Kiwi Fruit has a moment coming out to turn 3. Managed to keep control of the car, only just so, as Barmer overtakes Shelly the Turtle. I believe that was around the outside entering turn 7. So I do believe Andy Wu will make his first pit stop of the race here. He's making his way around turn 13. You can see Cameron is closing in by quite a bit. Around the final corner, heading up towards the pit lane entry, moves off to the right and heads into pit lane. Cameron out in front, and with a healthy margin in hand of just under 3 seconds, he sets a new fastest lap, which is promptly beaten by Bruno Diaz by quite some margin as well. Verstappen is third, followed by what should be P-Dog Peyton. He's doing quite well for himself out there on track. Oh, that was lag. I thought he went straight on there at turn 3. That was lag. As Barmer sets a new fastest lap with a 15.4. Andy Wu comes out beside his teammate. And I think Kitten Petter will get on by. He does. Andy Wu just letting him go. A wise decision as Kitten Petter, his tyres are up to temperature. Andy Wu, his tyres are still stone cold, so there's no point putting up a fight at all. Saint setting a new fastest lap of 15.4 effectively. Barmer's now closing in on Andy Wu. He's on the recovery as the battle's on between P4 and 5. That was lag, actually. Yeah, you can see Peyton's car jumping around the racetrack. Probably not giving Artemello a great deal of confidence, I would think, out there on track. Here comes Barmer closing in on Andy Wu. Going around the outside, entering turn 11. That turns to the inside at turn 12. Barmer's now up into 7th position. His next target will be Kitten Petter, P6. Artemello, he'll open DRS and close in on Peyton. Although, looking at the interval, he's not closing in by much. Peyton's got some serious straight line speed in that Ferrari, making full use of it. Meanwhile, top 3 really spread out right now. 3.5 seconds between race leader Cameron and P2 Bruno Diaz. That's yellow flags out. It's Airborne Tiger crashing into the wall at the exit of turn 13. Now, his front wing looks intact, but will he come down pit road to get it fixed? No, is the answer. He'll stay out. So he was fortunate enough not to damage the car, but he's now down in P16, a long, long way away from the top 10. 3.8 seconds, 3.9 seconds is now the gap between the top 2. Seems that Cameron has got the pace over Bruno as of right now. Verstappen's next, but he's playing a longer game, Verstappen. Be interesting to see what the top two will do in terms of strategy, because they're on the medium compound tyre. They're still a long way away from the checkered flag. We're not even at the halfway mark yet. So will they pit for a set of soft tyres? Will they pit for a set of hards? Or will they try and stretch their medium compound tyres to the end? I think the latter option isn't really possible, to be quite honest. I don't think those medium tyres will make it to the end. Barmer in P6 now. He's got a pretty clear track in front of him. His target will be Artemello in P5. The gap, 4.8 seconds. He's got a lot of work to do to catch up. See if he's got the pace in order to do that. Lopez on the back of Andy Wu on those soft compound tyres. He is awfully quick on those, but they're going to drop off a cliff in terms of grip very, very shortly. The soft tyre in this game is just, quite frankly, useless in race conditions around 90% of the racetracks. Now, the soft tyre can last some time. It can last around 10 laps or so. But, yeah, the pace drop-off is quite significant. Regardless, Lopez is still right on the back of Andy Wu, coming around the final corner. He actually dips the wheel onto the grass. He'll open DRS, head down the main straightaway, but I'm afraid he's not close enough to attack the McLaren into turn 1. You'll have to stay behind. Though Andy Wu does miss the apex by quite a lot there at turn 1, losing him a little bit of time to Lopez. Around turn 2 into turn 3, the gap hovering at 4 tenths, 3.5 tenths. Coming out of 3, heading around turn 4. Still pretty even between these two. And it's Airborne Tiger again. Same spot on the racetrack. He's not having a great time with things. And Cameron's made a mistake. Coming out of turn 10. He's dropped the race lead. Oh dear, oh dear. One simple mistake at turn 10 has cost him dearly. He's now a long way behind Bruno. 5 seconds, in fact. And he's falling to within the clutches of Verstappen as he has to recover tyre temperature. Probably quite cooked after his spin. Oh, and Peyton under quite a bit of pressure now from... Oh, no, he's not. No. That was lag. That's what that was. Oh, dear. And Peyton, he's 1.2 seconds in front. But he's lagging to within a tenth of Artemello. Oh, no. Yeah, I can't help but wonder what happened to Cameron. Did he just get on the throttle too early at turn 10? Did he clip the inside curb at turn 10? As I mentioned during qualifying, a lot of the curbs here are quite nasty. Kitten Petto loses the back end at the exit of turn 3. Andy Wu still has a lot of pressure coming from behind. Lopez not giving up this fight. Yeah, all of the curbs here are quite nasty, especially the inside curbs. Turn 7, turn 8. There's another inside curb you have to be a little bit wary of. Turn 9, you'll see the drivers avoid that inside curb, but the really big one is turn 10. That inside curb there is seriously nasty. You see with both Andy and Lopez, they avoid it as if it were the plague. They head down towards turn 11. Lopez still not quite in a position to attack. Artemello is now back within 7 tenths of Peyton, who lags to within half a second of Artemello. Oh dear. Down the main straightaway, Verstappen now has DRS. He's closing in on the second place driver. I'm sure Cameron would be kicking himself after what happened at turn 10. He had a really comfortable lead. Looked really quick out there. Bruno at best was matching Cameron. He wasn't closing in. But he's just thrown away a race lead. He's shredded his medium compound tyres. Now Verstappen is in a really solid position to try and attack. As Arba and Vermeulen change places at turn 1. Vermeulen's up to P12, but it's a big gap between him and the next car. It's 10.5 seconds between Vermeulen and Shelley the Turtle. Lopez now dropping time to Andy. He's now 8 tenths behind. Peyton and Artemello are still battling out there. And Cameron's built up a margin again of 1.2 seconds to Verstappen. Can Verstappen get within that 1 second range? He's not using any battery to do so, so he's going to be outside of that 1 second range down this main straightaway. Cameron, he's still got a bit of pace on those medium compound tyres. They aren't completely shredded. Still got pace. As Peyton and Artemello, this is going to be an interesting... this is going to be interesting between these two cars. Oh no, and Artemello, he's been absolutely shafted by the lag. You can see the damage on his front wing. Oh no, you gotta feel for the guy when something like this happens. And I've been in this position myself when you've got a car that's jumping all over the racetrack. It is absolutely impossible to pass, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. It just sort of happens. But yeah. So, oh, and now Barmer moves on through. Yeah, there's not much. Oh, and into the wall goes Peyton. Oh, and Barmer's been spun. Oh no, was that the lag car spinning him out? Or did he do that himself? Well, either way, he's been spun, and he's down to 10th. He's clipped the inside curb. Unfortunately, he keeps control of the car. Was that the lag car spinning him out, or did he just lose it himself? Because Peyton's car was in the gravel trap on the outside of turn 9, and then it teleported back to where it should be. As Barmer's lost control, that's at turn 10. Oh, and Kiwi Fruit and Barmer. Oh, Kiwi Fruit's actually spun. That's at the final corner. Now, has he got damage? It doesn't appear to have got damage. He's still out on track. He hasn't bothered to come down pit lane. What on earth is happening out there? My goodness. Now, Arta's fallen to within the clutches of 3 cars. He's got 2 McLarens and his teammate Lopez right behind him, and there's absolutely nothing he can do about this. He's got no pace in the car thanks to the damage on that front wing. He's defending the inside, trying to prevent Kitten Better from going by, but the McLaren gets great traction out of turn 9. Artemella defending the inside line as best he can, but here comes Petter. He'll have DRS down there straight away, plus the inside line for turn 11. There's really not much Arta can do, but he does keep up the fight to his credit. Around turn 12, heading towards 13. Oh, and Artemella gets nice drive out of 12, and he keeps the position. But he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck here. Around the final corner, Kitten Petter will close in thanks to the slipstream, and then they'll open DRS down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Look at this. It's a double attack from McLaren. Petter and Andy Wu are through. Artemello down 2 positions. What a great bit of teamwork there from the McLaren duo. Now Artemello down in 7th. Front wing damage doing the best he can. He's also low on battery, you can tell from the flashing light at the back of the car. Dear me. Now Lopez needs to try and find a way by, but he's now done 10 laps on those soft tyres. They'll be feeling pretty worn now. Probably make a pit stop at some stage very, very shortly to move on to a medium set of tyres. Here comes Lopez. Draws alongside Arta, and Arta gives in. You got a feel for him though. None of that was his fault. There's just really not much you can do, I'm afraid, in that sort of situation. As Andy Wu's overtaken his teammate Kitten Petter for P5, I think Petter's going to get the position back down this main straightaway. He's got the DRS open, plus the inside line. So the battle's probably on as Lopez goes into the pits and gives himself a 5-second time penalty. Petter moves back on through into 5th position. Lopez, what will you be picked? Oh, yellow flags are out. Oh, it's Arta, is it? Yes. Oh, and he's completely destroyed his front wing. But as a result, the safety car has been deployed. Well, I'll be. And look, Lopez is stuck directly behind the thing. As Arba gives himself a 5-second time penalty for speeding, Lopez will move by the safety car, as you should be. Electric Blade onto a set of medium compound tyres. Away he leads. Airborne Tiger. Set of mediums as well. I reckon anybody who has got a fresh set of mediums will be moving on to that tyre. But what about the leaders? Bruno comes in. You can't stretch the soft tyres out that long, but he's going to try. Yeah, soft tyres being put onto the car. He has to do a fairly long stint on those tyres. Soft tyres as well for Cameron. Now, in their defence, they will have to do a few laps behind the safety car. So they'll take the load off. See there, Verstappen moving on to a set of mediums. Same with Peyton. Andy Wu stays out. He's going to take track position. And he might take Cameron. No, he won't. No, he won't. So Andy Wu will come out in 3rd place, which is something I think Verstappen probably wouldn't want. There's an extra car between him and the top 2, who was on 10-lap old hards as well. But no, this is a saving grace for those who got damage or made a mistake earlier in the race. A nice big reset for everybody. And to everyone's credit, we're 22 laps in, not a single retirement. Not one. So this is a pretty big display from everybody. 5-second penalty being served for Arba. So he'll get rid of that penalty and bolt on a set of softs. He's now down in last place, so he can afford to do whatever he wants in terms of strategy. He can stay out on these soft tyres if he wants, try and stretch them, or you can move back onto a set of medium compound tyres that he was on. So it's up to him to decide what he wants to do. But everyone's pitted, except for this man in P3, Andy Wu. He is the only driver in the entire field to not take advantage of this safety car period. The only one. So he's stuck on 10-lap old hard compound tyres. And he's committing to it as well. He's not going to pit. He's going to commit to this. He wants to track position. Can't help but feel that this is going to turn into a sort of Hamilton-Verstappen moment between these two on the restart. With Andy Wu being Hamilton and Verstappen being, well, Verstappen. This hopefully won't take too long to bunch everybody up. I want to take a quick squeeze at penalties as well. Lopez has got a 5-second. What did you get that for, buddy? Oh, come on, race director. Why does it do that? It just sort of stops going to the race director. There's the jump starts. Lopez speeding into the pits. Yeah, fair enough. And Arba comes back in for the set of medium compound tyres he put on before. But now he doesn't have that 5-second time penalty next to his name. Oh, and there's Andy's car moving about the place. Oh dear. Hopefully this doesn't cause too much drama. But it should only take one more lap and everybody will be lined up, ready to get going again. Take a quick squeeze at position change as well. Bruno Diaz up 2 places. Cameron, he could have been leading minus a mistake at turn 10, but he's in P2 and he's right behind the leader. Andy Wu up 8 positions, electing not to pit during this safety car period, but it has been quite a solid race from both McLaren drivers, keeping out of trouble, making the most of their strategy. Verstappen P4, followed by Peyton, Kittenpetter P6, then Barmer. Lopez is next in P8, then Shelley the Turtle. Both Lopez and Shelley making up quite a few positions. Same with Petter, up 7 as well. Barmer down 6, but he was caught up in some early lap drama, and he's been on the recovery ever since. This big reset is what he desperately needed. He now has the opportunity to really make something of this race as Saint goes into pit lane. Yeah, Lopez and Shelley up 8 positions each. Kiwi Fruit up 2. Artemello down 6. I should say Kiwi Fruit down 2, not up 2. Artemello down 6, and he was unfortunately shafted thanks to Peyton's lag. It's just really unfortunate that happened to him. Vermeer up 2. Electric Blade up 2. Bursey down 4. Airborne Tiger down 9. Arba down 4, Saint now down 8, but he's now on fresh, soft tyres. So, a little mental note for everybody. Saint, Vermeer in 12th, and the top 2, Cameron and Diaz, they're on the soft compound tyre. Andy Wu is on the hard compound tyre that are 12 laps old. Everybody else is on a set of mediums. We can remember that. Don't need the tyre graphic anymore. We can increase the viewing space. As Cameron, for whatever reason, overtook Bruno. I think Bruno just took a really weird line on the outside of turn 12. I have no idea why he did that. Whole field bunching up, getting ready for the restart. Now, for the soft runners at the front of the field, they'll be able to get their tyres up to temperature nice and quickly, so they don't have to worry about tyre temp so much. Andy Wu definitely does on those hard compound tyres. Heading down the main straightaway, you can see Cameron trying to draw alongside. And we're now back under green flag racing here at Zandvoort. It's lap 25 or 36. We've got 12 laps to go, and down the inside goes Verstappen at turn 1, trying to attack straight away. Up towards turn 2, Verstappen with the inside line. Yellow flags are out. It's Burzy who has spun at turn 1. Verstappen's now up to P3. Andy Wu down to 4th. Peyton still in P5, followed by Kitten Petter, who has Barmer right on his gearbox, heading around turn 5 into turn 6, up towards turn 7. Barmer not in a position to attack here, though Cameron just might be. He is right on the back of Bruno. Yellow flags are out, though. It's Lopez who has spun. That is at turn 7. Burzy on the recovery after his spin at turn 1, down in last place. Got a lot of work to do, and he needs a bit of luck to go his way. Down the straightaway towards turn 11. Cameron not quite in a position to attack here. The battle's on, though, for 4th place on track. Andy Wu, Peyton, Kitten Petter, Barmer, Shelley the Turtle, Arthur Mello. Kiwi Fred still in this battle as well, as Saint overtakes Electric Blade. That's for P14. Around turn 13, the penultimate turn on the racetrack. Around turn 14, the final turn on the racetrack. Artemella trying to line up Shelley the Turtle. Barmer lining up Kitten Petter. Petter not putting up too much of a fight. Barmer's up to P6. Petter's down to 7th. Saints up to 13th, overtaking Arbar, who's now been moved down to 14th position. Around turn 2, around turn 3. Barmer's next target will be P-Dog Peyton, who's proving to be a tough customer to pass. It's demonstrated by a few laps ago. Cameron and Diaz coming out to turn 7, around turn 8. Battle is truly on between these two as of right now, but those tyres will fall off. And Verstappen, if he can keep within about 1.5 seconds throughout these few laps, he will definitely be in this fight towards the end. We've got drama going on. It's Tiger who has made a mistake. Yellow flags are out again, this time down the straightaway before turn 11. But I didn't see anyone stationary, so I think most people kept out of trouble. It was probably just a slow car. Artemello and Shelley the Turtle going awfully slowly at turn 12. And here comes Arbar on the attack. Not quite in a position, though, to attack at turn 13, but might be able to get a run around the final corner and back onto the main straightaway. Here comes Arbar closing in. Look at the overspeed the Aston Martin has. Slingshot spy, as if Arthur was standing still, as Peyton overtakes Andy Wu. The two laggy cars on the racetrack are battling for P4 on track as Peyton is glitching all over the place. And here comes Barmer. He's on the back of both of them, and he has no idea what to do in this particular situation. Around turn 6, looking down the inside is Barmer. Contact! Oh my goodness, where are the cars going? I have absolutely no idea. As they head around turn 8, my goodness, this would be so... Oh, contact spinning! And a damaged front wing for Barmer. Oh no, a completely destroyed front wing and a yellow flag. Oh, rather, a safety car has been deployed. I was going to say full course yellow. No, it's a proper safety car. But yeah, there's nothing you can do in that particular scenario. Barmer has been shafted once more. Completely destroyed front wing on that Alfa Romeo. And he will have to come in. He will have to get that fixed. No one's coming into pit lane. Everyone's happy with the tyres they're on. Barmer, he needs to get his car fixed. Into the pits goes Artemello as well. Saint, Airborne Tiger and Burzy. So quite a few drivers getting into trouble over the course of this stint. As Burzy, it's just a strategic stop. Saint, that's a front wing change. And it's a double stack for Alfa Romeo. This is a poor day for the Italian-Swiss outfit. Both cars are out of the points. But as I mentioned in the intro, Alfa Romeo have got a monumental lead in the constructors. A lead of about 70 points, just under 70 points to AlphaTauri. If I recall correctly, Alfa Romeo are on 103, followed by AlphaTauri on 35. It's a bloody big gap. Right. Second safety car period. We've got drivers passing one another. It's just such a common sight in league racing that during a safety car period, no one decides to leave any space. Just give each other some room. Just breathe a little bit. You don't need to be up someone's exhaust pipe during a safety car period until the restart. Just give each other some space. Breathe a little. You know. It's supposed to be a period where you drive safely. Just like this. Just give each other some space. Just a little bit of space. You've got to do. Artemello overtakes Andy Wu for some reason. Artemello overtakes... Ah, I see. They're going down pit. Oh, what's going on here? Well, that was peculiar. See Artemello getting right out of the way of Andy Wu. Yeah, I've noticed that, Kitten Petter. And unfortunately, Barmer encountered both he and Andy at turn 7 and turn 8, which is why the safety car has been deployed. Now to the pits comes Artemello. Yeah, no, I know how frustrating it can be from both ends of the spectrum. I have been on the receiving end of a driver lagging about, and I've also been the car lagging out. And it's sometimes a very strange sensation, because the occasion that it happened to me and was on Gran Turismo Sport, everybody else seemed relatively fine on my end. So I knew where they were, but they had absolutely no idea where I was. It was quite a scary situation. And I eventually worked out the reason why I was lagging so much was because I was wearing my headset through a wireless connection. And the wireless connection was actually interfering with the Wi-Fi. So now I have to wear this headset wired. Which, it's not quite as nice, but, hey, it's what I've got to do, so. Well, see, look, now there's space being created with everybody on the restart. Get up, bunch up. This is the time to bunch up. You can see Bruno he's crawling around the circuit. He is waiting. He is slowing down. Oh, and what's happened to he's been put into the grass somehow. And we're still waiting for the restart. And here goes Bruno. Yellow flags are out as well. Not totally sure. Oh, and there's Peyton's car. Oh, dear. Oh, Cameron, Bruno made contact at Tarzan corner. And Verstappen makes contact as well. And around goes Cameron, tumbling down the order. Peyton, oh, he's up to second. He's back down to third. He's lagging all over the place. Verstappen keeps P2 only just. Now Kitten Petter draws alongside. Or does he? I have no idea. Around turn 5. Into turn 6. Petter, oh, please do be careful. The car in front. Kiwi Fruit's up to 5th. I don't know. Shelley's been overtaken by Bummer 22, but Shelley up to 7th, up 10 places from the start. And that's Electric Blade still at a standstill at the final corner. Oh, and around goes Shelley. Around goes Kitten Petter as well. Oh, no. And Shelley, are you beached? Oh, dearie me. As Electric Blade gets a 5-second time penalty. Cameron spins out. Lopez on the gravel. What on earth is happening? A damaged front wing as well for Shelley, but... Oh, hello. That was a flick back up. Oh, and Cameron destroying his car, it seems. Yellow flags are out in Sector 3. Out in front, it's Bruno Diaz. Verstappen behind him, P2, then Peyton. Kiwi Fruit. Arba is in a battle here with Vermouth for P7. Vermouth closing in, but not by enough. And that's... Oh, that's the... Alpine of Electric Blade, and off the circuit goes Peyton, and he lags back into P3, make that P4. I have no idea where he is on track. My goodness. Here comes Barmer. He's alongside Peyton, around turn 6, over the hill, into turn 7. Shelley the Turtle gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. Both he and Cameron retire from the session. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Now we've got a train of cars forming up here behind Kiwi Fruit. He's at the front of the train in P3. He's got a 2-second margin to the car ahead, which is Verstappen in the AlphaTauri. Down the inside, Vermouth, rather around the outside, that turns to the inside. Vermouth gets by at turn 12. He's into P7. Barmer on the back of Kiwi Fruit. Can he get by? He draws alongside, looking down at the bottom of the racetrack, and he moves on through. DRS is now enabled as well, and here comes Saint on Peyton, down the inside, heading down into turn 1. Oh, that car moving about on the racetrack. Got no idea where it's going. Out of turn 1, up to, oh, and spinning! Peyton goes into the wall hard at the exit of turn 1. And he drops down the order, down to 9th place. And here comes the next 3 cars. Artemello, Kittenpetter and Burzy. And all 3 of them move on by safely. Saint on the back of Kiwi for 2.5 tenths, separating him from the Aston Martin. He closes in bit by bit as they head into the hairpin of turn 9. Barmer doing his best to try and close in on the top 2. Verstappen, he is 1 second behind Bruno Diaz. Can he get within that 1 second range? Can he challenge the Mercedes at the front of the field? They're pretty even in terms of pace, but how long will that last? Bruno Diaz is on the soft compound tyre. They will be losing grip shortly, I would imagine. Barmer 2.2 seconds behind. He can see the 2 cars in front. He's got a target. He's got a reference. Can he close in? He needs to put together some really mega laps in order to close in. But is he up for the challenge? Is his car ready for it? Is his tyres capable of closing in? Still got a few laps to go. It might be possible as Kittenpetter and Artemello are battling for P9 on track. Out of turn 1, heading towards turn 2. Artemello has the advantage. He hangs on to 9th. Kittenpetter, though, trying to get a run out of turn 3. He is right on the back of the Haas as Andy Wu sets a new fastest lap with a 1 minute 12.5. Burzy's on the back of this as well. This is for 2 points, essentially, for P9 and 1 point for P10. So it's a genuine points battle between these 3 cars. Heading down the straightaway towards turn 11. Lopez sets a new fastest lap with 11.9. As they head into the right-hander. Now around the left-hander of turn 12. This is still very much on, though. Kiwi Fruit is losing time and falling into the clutches of Saint and Vermouth. Verstappen is now within a second of Bruno, but you can see the flashing lights at the back of the AlphaTauri. He's low on battery. Bruno has no such issue. He's on 29% compared to Verstappen on 11. Barmer in P3 not closing in. I think his challenge for a win, or for a top 2 result at least, is over. The best he can hope for is 3rd, which, considering his race, I reckon he'll take that. Artemello, Kittenpetter, still battling for position, and that's Lopez spinning out at the exit of turn 10. Around turn 2 into turn 3. Oh, Artemello's got front wing damage still on his Haas. So he's having to put up a fight with a damaged car. He's doing a mega job with that damaged car, must be said. Around turn 10, down towards turn 11. Kiwi Fruit still keeping within that 1 second range. Doing a nice job. Sure, he'll be happy to hang on to a 4th place finish. See the position changes here after starting in 8th. He's up to 4th. Bruno Diaz, though, out in front, doing a good job. And those soft tyres are not falling off. He is really, really doing a fantastic job on those soft compound tyres. Making them last, making them work. Verstappen still doing all he can to keep the fight alive. Around turn 2, up towards turn 3. Kiwi Fruit has actually closed in on Barmer a little bit here. The gap has actually shrunk to 7 tenths. As Kittenpetter gets by Artemello. Artemello tries to fight down the inside. Wheel-to-wheel contact as they exit Tarzan corner. Up towards turn 2. Artemello tries as he might. He cannot hang on to 9th place. He's down to 10th. His battle now is for 1 point. And his battle is with Burzy in the Red Bull. And potentially P-Dog Peyton, who is closing in. Down the straightaway towards turn 11. And it seems Verstappen made some sort of mistake. Just notice the gap. It's now 1.7 seconds. So Bruno has got breathing room. He comes out to turn 13. Around turn 14. And back onto the main straightaway. He's now got 1 more tour of Circuit Zandvoort to go through. It's lap 36 of 36. We've got 1 lap to go, and Kiwi Fruit closing in, looking round the outside at Tarzan corner. He's committing to the outside line. Barmer doesn't give a great deal of room. Oh, and Kiwi Fruit goes into the wall. Running on that outside curb, he lost control of the car and drops behind his teammate Arbar down to 7th place. Oh dear, oh dear. He was looking at a nice points haul. He's still looking at points, to be fair, but now he's falling to within the clutches of Airborne Tiger. So these two might battle for P7 on track. Verstappen is recovering time, but I'm afraid it's too little too late for the AlphaTauri driver. I don't think he'll be able to challenge for the win unless Bruno makes a mistake. Only a few more corners to go for the Mercedes driver into turn 11. Around turn 12. Only 2 corners remain, but they're 2 incredibly tricky corners. He just needs to take it easy. Around turn 13, around turn 14 for the final time, and back onto the main straightaway. What a day for Bruno. He will take the checkered flag and win the Dutch Grand Prix. Verstappen comes home in P2. Barmer is next in P3. Then Saint and Vermeulen. A tight battle in the end for P4 on track, but Saint wins the battle. Vermeulen has to settle for 5th. A decent points haul for Aston Martin, but what could have been for the outfit? Kiwi Fruit hung inside the top 5. Airborne Tiger is next in P8, followed by Kit and Petter. It was looking like a big points haul for McLaren, but unfortunately for them, their race basically fell apart in the final 10 laps. Payton will actually finish inside the points in P10, followed by Berzi in 11th, then Andy Wu, then Artemello. And our final finisher for today's race will be Lopez down in P14. Potentially out of fuel? Yeah, he's out of fuel. That's why he's going so slowly. Yeah, it's probably a fair comment to make, Electric Blade. That final safety car restart was a bit shocking, with everyone bunching up as much as they did, and then the incidents which we saw. But yeah, oh well. Vermeulen given driver of the day for his performance in this race. It's now time for the winner's corridor of celebration. I do believe this will be victory number 1 for Bruno Diaz in this season. Drove a very tidy race. Drove very competitively, but just sort of kept out of trouble. Minded his own business and ended up taking the win. Verstappen will come home in P2, and completing the podium will be Barmer 22. He'll extend his championship lead with that points haul. But I'm sure he'll just be happy to make it to the end, score decent points, especially after a race like that where he was caught up in so much drama. Right. The unofficial results of the Dutch Grand Prix. Bruno Diaz takes the win by 1.1 seconds to Jos Verstappen in P2, followed by Barmer in 3rd place. Outside of the podium places, we have Saint, who started from 9th, finished 4th. Vermeulen went from 14th to 5th in his race, that's why he was given driver of the day. Arbar, a big performance from him, from P12 up to P6. Double points haul for Aston Martin, but as I mentioned, what could have been if Kiwi Fruit finished in the top 5. And unfortunately, a final lap incident means that he finishes in P7. Behind him is Airborne Tiger, another double points finish for Alfa Romeo, followed by Kit and Petter in P9 and P-Dog Payton in P10. Outside of the point scoring places, we have Berzi in 11th, followed by Andy Wu in 12th with fastest lap, then Artemello and Lopez, both Haas's, finishing outside of the points. Our retirement, Shelley the Turtle, Cameron, what a race it could have been for Cameron, and Electric Blade. No points for Alpine here at Zandvoort. There we are. The end to a dramatic Grand Prix here in the Netherlands. And it's something that you usually kind of expect around a racetrack like this. Maybe a little circuit, but there's so many demanding bits around here and so many areas where you could be caught out. And I think a few drivers got caught out, not just by the conditions of the track, but also thanks to some laggy connections out there. Just really unfortunate. But AM1 proving that it's a one hell of a racing league, racing tier. Always see something happening in AM1. Haven't really had a boring race all season. Oh. And I think with everything said and done, we can finally wrap everything up. Get out of here and get to the virtual showroom. And Zandvoort doing what Zandvoort does best, create drama. Had a incredibly tricky qualifying session right at the beginning with the conditions out there on track. It was always going to be difficult for everybody. Oh, that's right, Mercedes. What am I doing? But to everyone's credit, right, we actually went through quite a bit of a race before the first safety car. It wasn't until lap 22 of 36. We went a really long distance without seeing a safety car. But after that first safety car, everything just kicked off in terms of the drama. Saw some good driving out there, some really unlucky driving as well. A little bit of everything here at Zandvoort. Nice and fun. On my end anyway. I'm sure the drivers probably have a different opinion of that. But with everything said and done, it's time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching. And we'll see you next week for round 5 of the AM1 Championship at the legendary Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, home of the Belgian Grand Prix. The drama just doesn't stop here on Contest of Speed. Well, until next week, it's goodbye.